Welcome back, Dominators. Domination tips. Finally, I managed to do the 5.5 update or even patch notes video for you. I gathered all information from the online website, and so I will not present these update or patch notes from the online side to you. I will make it more in particular to show it all at the base and at the Worldwar stats itself. But first, give me a little side note or even a side notice or even repeat it. Because I have finally managed to order or to sort my description below every video, which is now standardized. So below every video there will be the standard text, and there you will find some links to my most favorable playlists, and there are also some explanations. So if you are interested in base layouts, tips, tricks, base reviews, Let's Farm episodes or whatever, you will find the direct links to the playlist below the video. Also to recommended and featured channels such as Berny's Journey Domination for all players or for all viewers which are interested in very high level strategical attacks from the top 10 alliances in the world in Worldwar, or even for lower players with lower experience. We have the link to Ultra Awesome's channel, who is probably currently in the classical age or even medieval age, so it could be also really interesting especially for like I mentioned, lower experienced players or less experienced players to see some content which is equal to their bases. You will find everything below the video. I will also post the link to the patch notes update online at the forum below the video, because in the video itself I will not show them to you. I have wrote them all down on paper next to me, and I will go through all of them with you now. Let's start with Marco Polo. Marco Polo is a traveling merchant which will visit our town, and I'm pretty sure he will come over here at this little tiny spot which was quite not there before the update. I have currently not seen him. Probably one of you has seen him. I'm anticipating, or I think there is a hypothesis that Marco Polo will arrive, I think, once a week, but I'm not pretty sure, so it's only an estimation. And it's definitely sure you can trade with him for event buildings, troop tactics, and national trade goods. And more was explained in the patch notes, so I'm not pretty sure what "and more" means. And I'm also pretty skeptical. Oh, I searched for skeptical. I'm pretty skeptical or skeptic about the connotation or about the word to trade with, because I'm not pretty sure whether the developers now implemented the next pay to win aspect, so that you have to pay money or even to trade with real world money to get some new content in the game, because we already have too many of these aspects, or if with the word trade is meant you will spend or trade in-game resources to get event troops, event buildings and such and so on. So I'm pretty skeptical, but let's see what the future will bring. And when Marco Polo is getting or is arriving first at someone's base, I would really appreciate getting some feedback down below in the video section, so that we get further informations. Let's go on. The, I think, most anticipated and most favorized content of the 5.5 update, especially in my opinion, was the challenge option. The challenge option, which was announced to us, would be about getting a new button over here somewhere. I'm not pretty sure in our alliance chat, where you will be able to post instead or even additional to your troop request your own base. There you can just choose whether you want to post some of your one of these three home bases or one of these three Worldwar bases, and then all of your alliance members will get for the about next 24 hours the opportunity to attack your base, and then you can analyze the death logs to see where your base has probably some weaknesses which you can improve. Also, what is very kind of the Entwicklers is the fact that when you are attacking this base, you will gain no resources, but you will also lose no troops, no tactics, no air units. So there will be no losses in total about these attacks. So only strategical meaning, especially for active or Worldwar active alliances. So the challenge mode is currently not implemented, but I'm pretty sure it will get implemented in a few days, I think. Let's see what this will bring to us. Next point is about, I noticed down the Amelia Earhart research in our university. And the Amelia Earhart was quite only a logical conclusion. I think I have already announced it in many videos. When I recognized, okay, first we got Chief Hiawatha, then we got Mansa Musa, and then we saw these kind of, I'm not pretty sure, the silhouette, or I'm not sure whether it's called this in English, you saw quite a black person and could not see whether it's a boy, a girl, there was no name, and but you could definitely anticipate that the thing in the background will be some kind of airplane. And there were 3 logical conclusions from which you could draw that Amelia Earhart would be the next university leader, and also about which her researches or what her researches would deal about. So first we got Chief Hiawatha, and it was really easy recognizable that you can upgrade over here everything which is connected to food. So you could reduce the costs and the time of food skill researches in your university. You could decrease the costs of farm upgrading. You could decrease mill upgrades and so on. I don't want to speak any more about. It was everything about food. The same was at Mansa Musa with gold, and then we only have 3 primary resources in game. It was really logical, in my opinion, that the next leader we would get, the next additional leader, would be about oil. So the first fact. Second fact, we get in the complete university, we have nearly everything handled about, or even everything is getting cared about. We get our defenses, our offenses pretty well, but the only thing we get no boosts about are our air defenses and air units. And because of the silhouette or of the picture, you could already anticipate that in the background there's a plane, and then also these researches will be about oil and planes, or even air units and air defense. And what is Amelia Earhart's research is exactly about where we speculated. So pretty cool. Let's get through all of the researches shortly. First, we can see oil production. We can research 5 stages of 4%, so in total 20% increase of our oil production. In my opinion, the oil refinery, the oil drill towers are pretty valuable. I'm definitely no fan of leveling the street, the caravans, or the farms, but my oil wells I will definitely level because of the high income you can get with university, and in addition to library research over there. Then we can research our SAM battery damage 6% in, I think, 5 stages, so in total 30% additional damage. If we look at our SAM batteries in Global Age, you can definitely, it's not worth to upgrade them. In Atomic Age, the upgrades are really getting much more power to the SAM batteries, but in the Global Age, they are only costing people, resources, and 7 days your workers. So you will only get about, I think, 2 times 50 more damage, which is definitely not much. So I will upgrade it, I think, in the end of the Global Age, or even first at the Atomic Age. But if we are now mentioning 30% total increase of our SAM battery damage, we are about 1,400 up to 1,500 damage, which is pretty cool, because these university research are much more strengthening them up. Than the ordinary upgrades in the Global Age. Then we get a really valuable chapter. So it's about our fighter or airplane damage. We get 3%, but now in 10 stages. So the duration will be increased over here, but that's pretty okay because this chapter is so strong. So in total we can increase the damage of our airplanes by 30%. And if we are now looking at our airplanes, mine are not that far upgraded, but they have already 160 damage. Let's calculate about 30%, so 1/3 additional on it. We get about 53 additional damage, so they will increase from 160 approximately to 210. Very strong in my opinion, especially for higher level planes. Then as next, what we also can recognize, Amelia Earhart's researches are starting really late. So you see level 5 over here. If we are now mentioning, for example, Mansa Musa, it starts at level 0, then gets to level 1, and the milestone is at level 2 of the university. But Amelia Earhart starts at level 4 and 5, which is pretty late in the university, but that's also logical because planes are getting You get access to the planes also very late. So first in the industrial age, therefore you have to upgrade your university very far to get access to the last researches over here. In total, you need to upgrade university 1 time more to get the last researches, which are level 6. So I'm pretty sure you can do the level 6 researches first in the atomic age. And that makes me a little bit sad because I won't get in the next time access to it. But we have to see. I'm not sure. Let's see. Upgrade level 5. Yeah, I think level 6 will be atomic age. That's a pity. But now about Amelia Earhart, the next chapter at level 5 would be aircraft upgrade costs. In industrial age, I would not have thought that this chapter would be that big deal, but we see we can get about 5 times 5%, in total 25% reduction. But now when I'm in global age, I recognize that the upgrades are getting very, very expensive, guys. The first upgrade already cost about 160,000 oil, and all additional upgrades up to the fighter planes in atomic age level 12, 13, I'm not pretty sure, they will cost even more, and that's quite a lot. So I think these cost reductions are definitely valuable. As next we can get our ordinary upgrades such as air defense hit points, air defense damage, both 5 times 6%, in total 30% increase. Pretty ordinary or pretty common, exactly like at our mortars or even our towers in total. Then we also can get our airship Mk3 damage, again 10 times to research, so more duration, about 3%. Then we get at level 6 paratrooper damage and transport Mk1 hit points. These are the more valuable chapters. I think if they would have increased the paratrooper hit points, it would not be that favorable, but increasing the damage and the hit points of our transporter is definitely strong. We get 10 times 3 and 10 times 3% in total, again 30%. Nothing in the university seems, I recognize nothing in the university seems to boost anything more than 30%. So 20% are the minimum, is the minimum value. You can increase or decrease something, and 30% the maximum. Then we can get fighter Mk1 hit points. And I think, guys, this chapter is even more valuable than the fighter Mk1 damage, because most of the skilled and experienced players are not using the fighter planes to kill enemy units, except for ground troops. They are mostly using them to not disable, but to slow down enemy defense units, so in some kind of strategical, not destructive way. So the hit points to use the fighter planes more often and in more dangerous situations will definitely or probably be more important than increasing the damage itself. We can get about 5 times 5%, so in total only 25% increase of our health of the airplanes. Then we get airship Mk3 hit points, also the same, nothing to mention about. And then there is the capstone, which is pretty valuable. You can see increase the airstrip capacity by 1, so we will end up at 5 airplanes or 5 airplane capacities, which is very, very strong and increases our offense or strategical offense opportunities really much. Next, oh, okay, World War is over. Next, let's get to the World War. Over here, we have some kind of new attachment or some new implementation about the Tiebreaker. And now I can only give you a recommendation. If you are interested about World War and active in World War, listen carefully. The Tiebreaker is a very, very valuable implementation, and I talked about the Tiebreaker with very many experienced players, and it turned out that no one of these players was aware of the fact what these additional Tiebreaker now will bring to us. So I was really surprised. All of them told me, yeah, I'm definitely know what's about, but no one of them got it already. So we had to talk about, and after the discussion or after our communications, they said, wow, cool aspect, really cool. So listen carefully, otherwise you probably may miss the point. So let's get right in. What was the further or the previous stance? The previous situation was that very many alliances, especially strong ones, top 100, top 50, top 10, no matter, alliances faced each other multiple times, and very often both were able to 5-star all of the enemy bases, so that they ended up in a stalemate. What was our previous situation when you ended up in a stalemate? If both alliances ended up with the same amount of stars, which was most mostly the maximum amount of stars. Then there is the average destruction, which is the new value to decide who wins the battle, the new tiebreaker. But if you have all stars at all bases, you will also have 100% destruction in total at both sides. So stalemate. In previous times, this meant about that both alliances will get no glory and only 40% of war loot. Now, I think 1 or 2 months ago, they changed the rules so that you will get no glory but 100% World War loot. But let's be honest, guys, the World War loot is a nice saving, a nice reserve, but it's definitely not the primary aspect why we are warring or world warring. And now they have changed our third category, which will be the tiebreaker after the average destruction. And this changed from average attack duration to total attack duration. Many of you will now screw their eyes and ask themselves or even me, and what's the fact about? There is nothing new, but there is definitely something new. And to explain it to you, let me go into a little graphic I made for you. We have the graphic. I did not give much effort to it. It was only to visualize what I meant. So first, let's talk about the new tiebreaker, what it means. The tiebreaker now means that first we are thinking about our stars, then we are thinking about our average destruction, which is included in the stars, and then we'll think about about the duration of the attack. So if we have now one base of the enemies which is getting 4-starred in 1 second, absolutely impossible, but let's only use this 1 second to calculate with it. So maximum fast attack, 1 second for 4 stars at a base. This result will go into your total calculation. So your alliance will get 4 more stars and 1 additional second in the total duration. But if there is another attacker who gets 5 stars at the base and needs 3 minutes and 30 seconds, which is a maximum slow, so you have used even the last second and you were definitely not very fast at the attack. Your alliance will get, instead of the 1 second now, 3 minutes and 30 seconds, which will make your total duration of your alliance quite worse, but therefore you will also get 1 more star, because the stars are in total more weighted or more important than the attack duration. First, it's mattering about stars, then about the attack duration, because if you have already 100% destruction included in the 5 stars, a 5-star also means that the destruction is already included, and then it's only about the time. So now let's talk about the dropper case or the sandbagger case. To explain it for probably less experienced players, a sandbagging or a dropping tactic is if an alliance, and I think all of the alliance, nearly all of the alliance I can remember quite now are using, of the top alliances are using this system. There are only a few which are not, to explain to you the situation. So it's a dirty but also a really common practice. If we are now thinking about an alliance which is dropping, there is an average strength of the complete alliance. It is getting cumulated or added by the average strengths of every member which is participating in World War. If you're now taking on purpose at least some very, very low accounts with you, which are probably level 3, level 4, level 5, they even don't have any defense buildings, their average strength will also increase, or even not increase, they will decrease the total or average strength of your alliance. So they will definitely and dramatically decrease it, so that in total your alliance will get matchmaked to lower opponents as if you would get ordinary. This means that all of the opponents, probably even the strongest, are not strong enough to face your biggest bases. So in total you make sure that the enemies cannot get the full amount of stars, but you can, and so you can save the victory for you. Now let's talk about the current situation after the update. If we have now 10 ordinary bases, no droppers, and it's not important whether we are talking about gunpowder, enlightenment, industrial or global. These are ordinary bases, so no dropping accounts. Let's say, only to make calculation easier, you will need about 2 minutes to 5-star each of these bases. This means in total 10 bases with 2 minutes each for 5 stars. You will get a total addition to your total duration of your alliance of 20 minutes. That's about an ordinary base or ordinary bases. If the alliance has now, instead of these ordinary bases, 10 droppers with them, it will be really much easier for the enemy alliance to 5-star these droppers, and instead of 10 times 2 minutes, they will, for example, it's only an example to make it easier to calculate, they will only need, so the enemy alliance, which is probably not or even less dropping or sandbagging, will need, instead of 10 times 2 minutes, 10 times 40 seconds only to 5-star them. So if we are now mentioning the total duration, we see that in the ordinary case, the enemy alliance, which is not or even less sandbagging, would get about plus 20 minute total duration, but if you are sandbagging, the enemies are only getting about 6 minutes and 40 seconds. So you are saving about 15 minutes if you are dropping. So if it's now coming to a stalemate, it will be much easier for alliances which are less or even not at all sandbagging to get a total good time and so beat the enemy alliances by the last criteria, not the stars, not the destruction, but the time. Hopefully, I'm not pretty sure. English is not my mother tongue, and it was pretty hard for me to explain. I hope all of you got the point. Otherwise, I don't know. Let's take a little conclusion to the tiebreaker. The tiebreaker is definitely an implementation against the dropping system. So let's get to the next. We get in the Atomic Age some new upgrades, such as farms and caravans. Over here, caravans, pretty unspectacular, and farms, we can upgrade them to level 18, oil wells to level 6, university to level 6. It's only about Amelia Earhart, otherwise you don't need the level 6 university. You can upgrade your fighters and bombers to level 18, which is incredibly strong. Transporter to level 12, and that's all about. Not very spectacular. It will only deal about or be interesting for a little amount of the players which are already in the Atomic Age or planning to go. All others, it's not that important. Therefore, I will skip this point now. There are also some other implementations. So first, we will get, like you can already visit, some kind of quick victory timer in all of our battles, no matter of whether World War or even multiplayer fight. I can show it to you. Over here, when I'm now dropping my troops, when I'm releasing them, you will see at the left top side, below the time amount, you see the quick victory timer, which is running down. So this means that the quick victory timer is visualizing for you until when you have to get the quick victory, so 50% or the town center to get the quick victory star in total. Over here you see, and in the end, if there are only about 3 or 4 seconds, it's getting to, I don't know whether it's the right word, blink. It's some kind of shiny to visualize now. Come on, it's really late. You have to get the quick victory. So here we are back. What's also new, a recommended upgrades button. You see down below next to the shop button, we can click on it and we see some recommended upgrades such as farms, ballista towers, factory shipping, blah blah blah. In my opinion, it's completely pointless. I don't know whether you are using this, but I have to mention it, it's quite new. Also, we have a scouting screen in the World War, which has quite changed. We currently have no World War, so I cannot show it to you, but I can try to explain. First, we have, again, the situation that we can see at the planning day, the coalitions of our enemies. In former times, after the last update, we were unable to see them because they were quite hidden down at the screen, and you had to look really, really carefully to it to see the whether the enemy has some defense collision. Now it has changed. Also, if we are scouting an enemy, we see first which was the currently best attacker at this base. We see the raw loot already. We see a really increased or enhanced window down here below, where you can see the name of the enemy player as well as both offense and defense collisions, which quite helps to plan an attack. Then we also have a new announcement window, pay to win. Okay, we have a new announcement window. If you are now starting the game, there will be a big window and you can change now between monthly, daily, I don't know. I'm not caring in total any shit about these pay to win actions, but I have to mention it. So also tactics, especially, we have a new quite implemented thing about our tactics. So first, which seems pretty positive, we get one additional tactics capacity in the Enlightenment Age. Previous, when we were upgrading our Tactic Academy or War Academy in the Enlightenment Age, we get no additional capacity. So we ended up as ordinary players with 6, in the Global and Atomic Age as Koreans with 7 tactics. Now everyone has 7 space, which means not 7 tactics, or even as Korean you get 8. But what has increased is the amount or even the capacity, the tactic space of our sabotage, of our protect, and of our betrayal, which are severely or even sadly the most and common used tactics. So everyone has quite to change slightly at his tactic or even at his strategy, because these inflationary use of tactics, which is common right up to now, has now to change. I think many more players have to play with decoy, so I'm also preparing to play more with decoy, because decoy, for example, like all of the other not mentioned strategies, tactics, will cost only about 1 or have a space about 1 instead of 2. It's next point we have the stronghold, and that's definitely a really bad aspect about pay to win, I think. Where is my stronghold? Oh, over here. So in the World War, if you have your own troop tactics inside your stronghold. If you're tapping on it in your home base, you can quite see all of the troop tactics you have available in your stronghold to use them in World War or even to donate them. If you are now going to the war map, I cannot show it to you, we have no World War currently, but if you're going to the World War, you can quite donate troops to other members. Ordinary troops as well as event troops, such as troop cards, however you want to call them. If you have donated them to your one of your friendly players, they are gone. So they are only usable one time. Then you have to rebuy them or regather them in the game through events, whatever. And they are for one World War inside of these of the receiving stronghold. And in previous times, when an enemy did not sabotage and trigger the stronghold, it released the troops which were donated for all attacks during this one World War. But if you have sabotaged or blitzkrieged the stronghold, it did not shoot and spawn the troops, and you could really easily erase it. Now, after the update, it's really getting dangerous, because no matter whether you sabotage or even blitzkrieg it will definitely deploy the troops which are in when you destruct it. So, like for example, the resistance research. Therefore, guys, you can sabotage it so that it does not shoot anymore, but using blitzkrieg as a stronghold is really getting pointless, because the latest amount is when you are destroying it. No matter whether blitzkrieged or not, it will spit out the troops, and that's definitely one more step towards pay to win. I really dislike this aspect, and I can only say to Nexon, this was one of the I don't know, I don't want to insult anyone, you know what I'm thinking. Let's get to the atomic buildings. There were also some stability upgrades, or I'm not pretty sure. Stability? Balance. Some balance updates were done. So, for example, some event buildings, I don't think it's really important, but some event buildings in the Atomic Age had about 400 to too little hit points. Now they have 400 or 600 hit points more, but it's pointless in my opinion. Then we also have another balance updates. That's, for example, and that's really harsh, we have sneaky units such as the Commando, such as our Night Witches, and the only thing that could harm Night Witches were our SAM batteries. Nothing else. They could not get shot or whatever. And now they have done, or they have implemented the fact that sneaky troops no longer gets triggered by or harmed or whatever by SAM batteries. So you can use your Night Witches now perfectly at the complete enemy base, get every building without fearing anything. That's pretty bad, I think. But it's about... We have also some other balance updates, like not crashing when you are loading an enemy base, when you are loading your own base, whatever. It's all about the patch notes. If you're interested, I think these little points are quite pointless. But if you are interested, click on the link below the video, and then you can read it right on the forum of Nexon. Guys, And girls, we are finally through this video. Hopefully you got entertained, even more informed. And if you have any suggestions, any opinions, just give me a little link below. Therefore, we have our community to communicate. I'm even learning from you too sometimes. So, guys and girls, we'll see us soon. Your domination tips.